This is GBC News, the headlines. The Spanish foreign minister says everything in the treaty that benefits the Campo will benefit Gibraltar. The chief minister tells a Madrid audience the treaty opens up new business opportunities. The DPC approves a trial period for nighttime works on the East Side development. A study finds Gibraltar's macaques eat soil to settle their stomachs after junk food. And a comic book on first aid scoops the Young Enterprise Junior pitch battle. Good evening. The Spanish foreign minister says everything in the treaty that benefits the Campo will benefit Gibraltar and vice versa. José Manuel Álvarez visited La Línea and Algeciras today. He told GBC the treaty is about creating shared prosperity for the entire zone, comprising both the Rock and the Campo.
April 10th was perhaps always a little overambitious as a date by which the treaty could be fully implemented. We're now working towards having everything ready by July 15th. The Schengen Shack is starting to take shape. As you can see, workers here told the Spanish foreign minister this morning that they're on track to be ready by July. The chief minister is confident that we will be ready by July. José Manuel Álvarez was in La Línea this morning as a courtesy to the La Línea mayor, Juan Franco, and to the people here, who he acknowledged would have been hardest hit by a hard Brexit.
Para 300.000 andaluces está a punto de iniciarse un antes y un después. Desenclavamos con el acceso, por ejemplo, al aeropuerto esta tierra, pero también la desenclavamos en la mente de muchas personas. Hoy, en este mismo momento, toda España mira hacia la línea y hacia el campo de Gibraltar por lo que está a punto de ocurrir a partir del 15 de julio. Y vengo hoy y arranco, como no podía ser de otra manera, por la línea, el municipio que sin duda alguna hubiera sufrido más de un Brexit duro y que sin embargo invertimos con este acuerdo su futuro y toda su potencialidad. Arranco aquí evidentemente con una conversación con Juan Franco, su alcalde, esta visita a lo largo de todo el día con los actores políticos, económicos, sociales del campo de Gibraltar para analizar cómo vamos a conseguir que todo eso que ahora se pone a disposición de la línea y del campo redunde en beneficio de los ciudadanos y de los vecinos de la línea y de los 300.000 andaluces del campo de Gibraltar.
He was on his way up to a meeting with the 8 mayors of the Campo de Gibraltar ahead of implementation of the treaty, with things going smoothly, but some creases yet to be ironed out.
Con este acuerdo logramos, en primer lugar, eliminar desigualdades y distorsiones que ya son parte del pasado. En segundo lugar, garantizamos la movilidad de personas y de mercancías para siempre. En tercer lugar, protegemos y blindamos el futuro de los trabajadores y, sobre todo, algo que nos ha preocupado especialmente, sus derechos, incluido, por supuesto, las prestaciones de desempleo y las pensiones. Y, sobre todo, este acuerdo impulsa al campo de Gibraltar como una zona de desarrollo, de oportunidades, de conectividad y de futuro.
We're living through one historic moment after another, with the most momentous yet to come, when that fence behind me comes down. Yesterday, the chief minister was invited to the Palacio de Viana, the residence of the Spanish foreign minister. Today, Mr. Álvarez visited the frontier, which he says is on borrowed time.
Naturalmente, su prioridad ha sido la gente del campo de Gibraltar, pero para la gente de Gibraltar, ¿tiene usted un mensaje, le puede asegurar o opina usted que será positiva también que la prosperidad compartida llegará al Peñón?
Tres cosas al respecto. En primer lugar, ayer tuve un encuentro con mi buen amigo Fabián Picardo. No será el último, sin duda alguna. A partir de ahora, el campo de Gibraltar caminan de la mano hacia un futuro compartido y, por lo tanto, nada más normal que tengamos encuentros e intercambiemos formal, informalmente, oficialmente, de todas las formas. En segundo lugar, Estamos en un momento histórico, sobre todo, porque estamos inaugurando un nuevo modelo de convivencia. El modelo de relación entre Gibraltar y el campo de Gibraltar se transforma en cosas prácticas, técnicas, pero también se transforma en ese modelo de convivencia. Dos poblaciones que vivían de espaldas una a la otra se dan ahora la mano y van a caminar juntas. Y en tercer lugar, a lo largo de todo este periodo de conversaciones, discusiones, negociaciones, teníamos claro que Gibraltar y el campo de Gibraltar tienen que conformar una única zona y que la prosperidad tiene que ser compartida, común. Y por lo tanto, todas las personas que viven a ese otro lado de la verja en Gibraltar pueden tener la seguridad que todo lo que beneficie al campo de Gibraltar beneficiará también a Gibraltar, como todo lo que beneficie a Gibraltar en adelante por ese modelo de convivencia beneficiará al campo de Gibraltar. Muchas gracias.
A united front from politicians on two sides of a frontier which will soon no longer exist. A historic agreement which would have been unthinkable not too long ago. The reality of its implementation remains to be seen, and while concerns may remain until then, the picture being painted is a promising one.
And while the Spanish foreign minister was in the campo, the chief minister remained in the Spanish capital. This morning in Madrid, Fabian Picardo told a hall of business people, diplomats, ambassadors, other politicians and media that Gibraltar is now open for business to Spain as a place that has direct access to the UK markets. Mr. Picardo told the high-profile pan-European think tank Nueva Economía Forum that the ROC's fiscal system is open and transparent to Spain, but that its common law court system is a far more agile one than Spain's civil law.
Un banco español o europeo o una aseguradora española o europea que tenga una licencia en Gibraltar tiene acceso pleno al mercado de servicios en Reino Unido como cuando fuimos miembros de la Unión Europea. ¿Y por qué no echan mano de profesionales en Gibraltar, que somos hábiles perfectamente en español y en inglés? Hay muchísimas oportunidades. Eso es solo una tapa de lo que os podéis encontrar por el Peñón. Vengan al campo de Gibraltar a hacer negocios. La mano de obra gibraltareño y campo gibraltareña no os va a decepcionar.
Also, Mr. Picardo observed it had been more than 3 centuries since the last treaty on Gibraltar and said it was time to choose people over politics. In a question and answer session at the end of the event, the Chief Minister was asked who would benefit more from the treaty, Gibraltar or Spain. He replied, the people.
El contencioso que hay entre nosotros está en la cláusula 2, y en la cláusula 2 se aparca. Y todo lo demás es de cómo vamos a conseguir que los jóvenes de un lado y de otro puedan seguir viviendo como si no existiera la frontera, que las personas que trabajan en un lado y en otro puedan transitar a donde había una frontera de una manera muy fluida y de tener un futuro europeo. Los españoles son los más cometidos europeos que conozco. ¿Os gusta la Unión Europea? Creéis más que nada en los fundamentos y los valores de la Unión Europea. Y este tratado lo que hace es extrapolar esos valores de la Unión Europea y traerlos a la relación entre España y Gibraltar, y en particular entre Gibraltar y el campo de Gibraltar, porque lo que importa más son las personas y en particular las futuras generaciones.
Well, in the last few moments of the Q&A, Mr. Picardo was asked what the future held for him personally after his political career. He answered that he would return to his legal work, which he loves. We'll bring you the Chief Minister's speech and question and answer session in full on tonight's Viewpoint, as well as more from the Spanish Foreign Minister's visit to the campo, with political analysis from host Rosa Stengo and guest Pablo Gomez of Área Campo de Gibraltar. That's coming up after this bulletin. In other news, from today's meeting of the Development and Planning Commission, works in the East Side area could soon continue into the night, subject to a 4-week trial period. Developer TNG, through its contractors, requested permission for marine operations linked to the proposed coastal protection works, reclamation and marina structures to run on a 24-hour basis. Currently, working hours are limited to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays, and are not permitted on Sundays or bank holidays.
The Development and Planning Commission heard that existing nighttime noise levels in the East Side area are just under 50 decibels, and that the proposed works would only increase these marginally, with monitoring in place. The applicant, TNG, said any nighttime activity would be limited to marine works and would not be continuous. There would be no crane operations or use of fog lights, for example, with louder activities restricted to daytime hours. They said the works would not have an undue impact on residents in the area. Marine operations are currently constrained by tides and weather conditions, and they said removing time restrictions would allow greater flexibility. The developer said the main benefit of extending working hours would be a reduction in the overall construction period by around 3 months, bringing completion forward from August to May 2027. Environmental concerns were also raised, with assurances given that the Department of the Environment is on site almost daily, water quality is tested twice monthly, and an oil spill response plan is in place. However, in light of recent sediment plumes and the upcoming bathing season, the ESG's Janet Howitt suggested more frequent water testing and a thorough assessment of the seabed. Minister Pat Orfila said she was reassured by the monitoring in place and supported the proposal, noting it could ease traffic pressures in the area. The Commission voted in favour of a 4-week trial, allowing works to continue until midnight. This will then be reviewed, with the possibility of extending the arrangement.
Also at the Development and Planning Commission, a heated exchange between Queensway Quay Management and the neighbouring Cormorant Camber Boat Owners Club saw super yachts and small boat owners pitted against each other. Cormorant Camber had applied to extend its marina, adding 19 additional berths. However, the Commission heard this could impact larger vessels currently berthing to the north of the sails, potentially leaving insufficient space for them to manoeuvre safely.
Representing Queensway Quay Management, lawyer Ian Farrell argued the proposals would encroach on his client's waters and interfere with existing operations. He warned the dispute could ultimately end up in court, adding the captain of the port had already assessed the plans and raised concerns about navigational safety. However, representatives for the Boat Owners Club disputed this, claiming that Queensway Quay regularly berths vessels that exceed their allocated space and encroach into club waters. Lawyer Alfred Vasquez said there was no legal right to do so. That berth is not a super yacht berth, he said. Minister Leslie Brusson supported the application, saying it would be unfair to require the club to reduce its berths while not enforcing existing boundaries on Queensway Quay. He said he had to put the interests of the people on the waiting list for berths first. Minister Pat Orfila said, "We have enough troubles with our waters as it is, without fighting internally." The proposals were ultimately granted full planning permission, with 6 members voting in favour.
And also given full planning permission at today's DPC meeting were plans for a boutique hotel at the Mount, as well as an upgrade to the existing fuel pipework and a new pump room at the North Mole. We are watching GBC News. Still to come, blood donation. The GHA says more donors are always welcome. International attention after research finds Gibraltar's macaques eat soil to settle their stomachs. And we hear from the winners of the Young Enterprise Junior Pitch Battle. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back. Around 5% of Gibraltar's population are blood donors. GHA phlebotomy nurse practitioner Elaine Francis says it's a positive figure, though more donors are always welcome. She highlights blood is not just used in trauma situations, but in many others. It takes 10 minutes and can ultimately save a life. Kellyanne Borge asked her how many blood donors there are locally on Gibraltar today.
About 1,800 active blood donors, which statistically for the population of Gibraltar is fantastic. So yeah, we do have about 1,800 donors.
Is it enough then? Do you feel like that's enough for our population?
I don't think it's... Is it enough? I mean, people ask me all the time, oh, do you need more donors? But the fact is that we've had donors that have been donating for many years, and then for one reason or another they have to retire, so it's always good to have new donors come in. So it's never enough, if that is the question.
And remind us why it's so important to donate blood.
Well, blood cannot be manufactured, so we do rely entirely on our blood donors. It's not something that we can just make up. Blood is used a lot. I think lots of people associate it with trauma, but it's so much more than that. We use blood for cancer patients, patients with, different types of illnesses, childbirth, maternity, chronic anemias.
The GHA is also calling on anyone who would be willing to donate platelets. If you'd like to donate blood or platelets, you can email blooddonations@gha.gi. The Workers' Memorial Day ceremony will be held next week. The short ceremony will be held on Wednesday at the Alameda Gardens. It'll be a collaborative event between Unite the Union and the government, organised by Cultural Services. The ceremony will begin at 10 and will be led by the Chief Minister, Fabian Picardo. Monkeys on the rock have learned to eat soil to counteract the effects of too much junk food, according to a study in the journal Scientific Reports. The study has garnered international attention, with many UK outlets picking it up.
The rock's furry inhabitants are well known for stealing food from visitors. Very often, this can range from nuts to crisps, chocolates, and just about anything they can get their hands on. But now, the junk food seems to be hitting them, and they're looking for a way to manage it. Scientists think the monkeys may be eating soil to rebalance their digestive tracts. The behaviour is known as geophagy and works because the bacteria and minerals in soil can recompose your gut's microbiome. The soil munching seems particularly pronounced in the troops of macaques most exposed to tourists. It seems most common during holiday season, which could be when they tend to get their hands on snacks from visitors up the rock the most. The study found the monkeys near the top of the rock were more than twice as likely to eat junk food as others. Scientific Journal describes how the monkeys appear to learn the habit from others, with macaques favouring different types of soil depending on their troop. According to the study, the behaviour appears to go down during the winter months.
Students are being recognised for innovation after winning a junior pitch battle organised by Startup Grind, with a project focused on life-saving skills. Young enterprise teams fought to take the top prize, but in the end, Regenerate came in top place. The team has developed what's being described as Gibraltar's first ever first aid comic book. Members of the Regenerate team joined Kellyanne Borge on Gibraltar Today to discuss their business. But first, Kellyanne spoke to the organiser behind the pitch battle, Startup Grind's Denise Matthews.
Next month, Young Enterprise has the actual final. So this is kind of like a warm-up, styled in a Dragon's Den type competition. But it's very practical, it's very useful. It gets them used to having present on the stage. And they were having lots of conversations with the judges after the competition. All of the teams were the judges were surrounded. And it was so great to see that it is an experience that enriches them and helps them in the competitions.
Tell us about Regenerate and how the idea for your business came about.
Well, we wanted to cover a topic that had never been done before, and obviously mental health and stuff like that is done a lot. So we thought that if we did something that was often pushed to the side, such as first aid, and instead made it exciting to learn, it would be a very good choice for us to do for Young Enterprise.
It's Geo the Gecko's to this guy. He is the main character. He's an ordinary guy to show that everyone can perform first aid. And what he basically does is he helps his friends in like situations that they need help in, such as like recovery position. We got Dr. ABC here, bleeding, cuts, and we made it in a fun way, like a comic style.
Yeah, well, a couple of individuals from the team are scouts, which means that we've in the past done many first aid courses. Also, David and myself are lifeguard certified as well.
Most people from the team, we didn't really know each other that well, but through the Young Enterprise program, we found like we had meetings with each other and we had days out, we celebrated together, we laughed together, and there were some days where we got a bit disappointed with each other, but you know, that's all part of the program. And we grew really close across as a business. You know, we had lots of support as well from other people, like our business advisor was a big help as well, our teachers, shout out to Mr. Gomez and
Well done to them. Well, that's all from the GBC News team for now. Don't forget, you can always catch up on our website and our social media pages as well. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.